Welcome to Growth Sparks, the podcast for health and wellness founders and practitioners. Here we dive into founder stories, their strategies, and innovations that shape this dynamic industry. I'm your host, Riza Javellana, and today I'm very happy to be joined by Dr. Peter Amato of Inner Harmony Wellness Center. He is a pioneer of holistic wellness. Welcome, Dr. Amato.
Thank you so much, Risa. I'm grateful and honored to be here with you today.
Let's start off with you. How did you end up being into holistic wellness? Tell us your story.
Well, interesting and fascinating story. Years ago, at 38 years old, I got into an illness, an addiction, actually, drugs and alcohol. Ended up in a rehab center at 38 years old. And upon exiting the rehab center, I decided to take my personal health into a much better condition than I was suffering from, and went down the path of holistic health and wellness. Began traveling the world, going to workshops and seminars and seeing different authors and doctors and theologians to find out what makes us tick and how we could best define optimum health. So I became fascinated and began my own journey. My dad had been sick with chronic health fatigue, heart fatigue, and eventually passed away. So I wanted to really better my life and live long. So that's how I started on my journey, and went back to school. I got a bachelor's degree in nutrition, a master's degree in transpersonal psychology, and a doctoral degree in mind-body medicine.
You speak about holistic wellness being mind, body, and spirit. What does an alignment look like? And how does misalignment impact us?
Well, that's a great question, and it's really individualized, and we try to meet people where they're at on their health and wellness journey. Some people are moving from white bread to wheat bread. Some people are going vegan. Other people's are looking to expand and elevate their level of consciousness. So it's really a mixed bag of learning where people are and where they want to end up and what will be the best and most appropriate path for them. So we treat everyone uniquely, but we are extremely well versed in all of the aspects of functional, integrative, and quantum medicine, along with the journey of self consciousness.
I guess that's what makes your practice very unique. It's tailored to what the person needs, and you pull from, different aspects of wellness, science, modern health. So I'd like to think, as well as the spiritual aspect of it.
Absolutely. We get really involved in multimodal paths for people. We assemble modalities relative to where they want to end up in different buckets of what do they need mentally, emotionally, what do they need physiologically, what do they need hormonally, what do they need spiritually. It's all about their story. We learn their story, where they've been, where they are, and where they want to end up. And we apply our mind body approach, holistic principles, mostly all evidence based,
Mhm.
until you get into the psychology and the philosophy, and then it becomes unique to the individual.
Can you describe to me your ideal customer?
So we've been at it since 1997. I would
Mhm.
say it's 80% females. We have two groups, basically. We have the younger groups, maybe 35 to 50, pre and postmenopausal. We have the elderly, aches and pains, aging seniors, just trying to stay youthful and vigorous.
Longevity is certainly quite the topic these days. People want to have longer and healthier lifespans. And then, of course, the perimenopause, menopause changes that women experience. So I can certainly understand how there's more people reaching out for help to manage themselves during these big changes.
Yeah, that's a great area. We work with people all over the country virtually or in our offices,
Mhm.
and it's very common with the hormonal change of life issues. But at the root of the problem, what we have found is when we talk about it from a multidisciplinary approach perspective, Functional medicine has taught us that bodily systems must work in unison together. For example, the nervous system must work with the endocrine system as well as the digestive system, just to name a few systems. So oftentimes when women have issues going through the change of life, we find that there's what's called neuroendocrine disruptors. In other words, either toxins or pathogens that have affected their change. And that's always when we find issues that have imbalanced their hormones.
Mm.
So we first must clean them up and detoxify all of the disruptors, whether it be from food toxicity or Roundup glyphosate, beauty products, cleaning products, hair products. Oftentimes that gets into the organs and glands and disrupts the flow and change of life and causes all these symptoms that women go through. We
We take
clean
it
them up and then we address and balance the neurotransmitters of the brain as well as the hormones in the female parts.
It's almost like, as you were describing it, I'm thinking of the car and how it needs tune up every so often. Everything gets checked. You bring it to the shop every 6 months and you just need to clean things up, replace a few things, maybe, I don't know, but
It's
our
funny you
whole
say that.
system. Yeah.
Sometimes we say we're like electricians and plumbers.
Yeah. It sounds like it because you are again like very holistic in your approach and you look at the total system, not just address the arm. I mean, we are used to going to specialists, right? If there's something wrong, we go to a general practitioner and then we are sent to a specialist who looks at one thing. And I don't know if that's necessarily what the person needs sometimes. Obviously, yes, if there are certain organs or parts of the body that needs special care, but what you're talking about is really looking at the entire body, the entire system, including brain health and fixing holistically. And I think that's what makes your practice very unique.
You're absolutely correct. So, in essence, through our diagnostic testing, all of our visits are 1 hour
Mhm.
and two people are with the patient client for that hour. So, our diagnostic testing basically, like a mechanic would pop the hood, we would basically check on all of these systems, see if they're all functioning and balancing. If we find some glitches, we can move into some functional blood cell testing, but not very often because our way of diagnostic testing through applied kinesiology or muscle testing, science evidence based, has given us methodology of testing that's 40 and 50 years old that has come from Germany and Russia, doctors, medical doctors who've proven this. So the science and the elegance of our medicine has gotten so sophisticated that in 1 hour, we could basically tell you if your systems are balanced, if your organs and glands are functioning at their highest level, if you have any toxins or pathogens in your system, and provide a clinical protocol of what we call nutraceuticals, which is plant based 100% organic nutraceuticals, different than toxic pharmaceuticals, and put you on a protocol. Oftentimes, we have an adjunctive wellness center that enhances the detoxification process or energy building process. It's either one or the other or both. So it's a multidisciplinary approach, and we have you come back once a month to repeat the process. And usually after 3 to 6 visits, people no longer need to come to us. Their chronic health issues are over. And we
Mm.
say, come back in 6 months or a year for a checkup.
Okay, yeah, you just answered my question. I was wondering how long these programs would take. Is it something that's 12 months long or even longer just to make sure that the cleansing and the optimization, I guess,
Yeah.
is really achieved?
And it's interesting because if people are generally healthy, we call them the
Mhm.
walking well, but they have
Uh-huh.
aches and pains, or maybe they have digestive issues or sleep issues or hormonal issues, bone and joint pain, usually 3 to 6 months.
Hmm.
Now, if they're sick or they have cancer or Lyme disease or some long-standing issue, it could take a year or even 2 years to remediate and get them back, depending on the
Yeah.
chronicity and how long standing.
When is the ideal time to come to your team? Is this something that you would advise as a preventative measure, or are there certain stages in life where it becomes really more critical for this checkup?
That's another great question. It really depends on the mindset and the consciousness of the individual and how they value their health. So we have a
Hmm.
lot of people that are extremely fit and healthy that come to us because even though they feel great and they feel well, there's always underlying latent issues that may crop
Hmm.
up later in life, but they're there now. So they come and they say, test, because see, we test at the cellular level. So
Mm.
we are in touch with any issues in your tissues long before they would ever become a symptom. So if
Hmm.
people are that savvy and that interested in optimizing their health, they come to us while they're well, therefore they never get sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
On forward to the people who have, chronic health issues, people who have chronic health issues that have been everywhere, tried this, tried that, been to all the specialists. Blood work looks good, but they have all the symptoms. We're oftentimes the last call for people like that looking for answers. And then there's the people who are sick and just say, last resort, help me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hearing more and more about how your later decades, your 70s and 80s, are really determined by how you take care of yourself in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. When you're young, you take things for granted. You use whatever things on yourselves, you eat whatever you want to eat and not exercise as much. But it really tells you how the investment in yourself and your wellness really goes a long way. And so having a preventative approach is so critical rather than address it when the problem is already big.
Yeah, we call it health maintenance as opposed to disease management.
Yes, it's like a car. It's the going in for your oil change every 6 months instead of having a major repair down the road that's going to cost so much more. You obviously have been in business for a long time now. How have you seen the business evolve over the years? Is it becoming a higher priority for people to take care of themselves given what's out there these days?
It's been a really long journey. We were pioneers back in the day, 25 years ago, and people looked at us funny like we were quackery or weirdos, and it wasn't popular, but we focused at that time on nutrition being important, diet, nutrition, what you eat, when you eat, your water. So we didn't build a lot of great traction early on. We were way ahead of our time, but over the years, and I would say especially since COVID, people have taken a different approach to their health and become more engaged in self-care. And with all the news about the vaccinations and such, and now with the Make America Healthy Again here in the US, we have a resurgence of people waking up to the fact that let me start taking a look at becoming my own healthcare practitioner and cleaning up my diet and finding out what, if any, supplements I should be taking, vitamins and minerals. We call them nutraceuticals. But in recent years, in saying that, we've moved from nutrition being primary to detoxification being primary because our environment and our food sources have become so toxic that people have issues that may not be cropping up, but they're starting to become much more prevalent in our world of people having digestive issues or sleep issues, brain fog, not knowing why they would go to traditional doctors and they have no way of testing, whereas we test at the cellular level so we could figure that out in 10, 15 minutes. So that's become a real shift in healthcare in our world, as well as enhancing our growth potential in the future.
Yeah. Having said that, where do you see yourself focusing in the next 12 months? Are there business priorities that you're diving into?
So in the last year, we've actually been offering courses where we teach healthcare practitioners and doctors what we do
Mm.
because our approach really could save people a lot of time, effort, money in optimizing their health, it could really change the way medicine is designed and delivered to the point where the whole economy would change. So more and more doctors and healthcare practitioners are realizing that health maintenance is key to longevity, and getting there early on is a big factor.
That's very encouraging. And certainly myself, I've become more aware of that and helping spread the word because I see it in the aging population. People who have taken care of themselves are having a better quality of lives in their 70s and 80s compared to those who just took things for granted. What has been the toughest part in getting awareness out there? Are there bottlenecks that you've seen in getting holistic wellness more popular?
Yeah, it's another great question. It really has been a challenge because we're kind of going against the grain, if you will. People are so used to the traditional way of medicine, whereas our whole lives, we go to the doctor, the first thing they do is blood work.
Mm,
Like that's their gold standard. What else can they really do? But the blood work is very limited. It doesn't really address the root causation of any health concern because it doesn't test for the issues really that caused the problem. So they're really only addressing the symptoms, and
mhm.
they want to keep you in their system, if you will. And very few people get the results, and they come to our office and they say, I take all these medicines, but I don't know if they work. And my blood work is this, but I don't feel any different or better. So helping gain people's level of awareness and buy-in has been the problem and continues to be the main problem is buy-in, that what we do is different than blood work and pharmaceuticals. And the second part is the insurance companies do not value what we do, so they don't cover any of our work because the problem is the patients get better faster, so they can't make any profits. And the drug companies can't also make any profits. So it's really an uphill battle to gain popularity and buy-in from people.
Yeah, it's tough when you're facing systemic problems like this that need really a major shift and a wider acceptance and awareness amongst the people who would really benefit from taking care of themselves early on. When you zoom out and look at the wider health and wellness industry, are there trends that you're seeing that you can imagine your business adopting in the future or evolving into in future?
Well, I think as time goes on, the medical schools must adopt more of a holistic way of education. Society is doing it, with the government, which is a good way to help advance awareness, make America healthy again. If that is continued on, with the foods and the dyes in the foods and the quality of the foods, there's so many significant problems in the environment with toxicity, and it's amazing. When you test at the cellular level, you run into problems of like autonomic nervous system dysregulation, people that are living in fight or flight or freeze or fawn because they've become so stressed out with the ways of the world and what's happening that they kind of check out emotionally and mentally. And it's becoming a problem when social media and all the advancements there, as good as a lot of it is technology wise, it's really affecting our communication levels. Cell phones are a problem. The electroradiation coming from cell phones have caused a lot of people to have autonomic nervous system regulation. They don't even know it. The computers, the chemtrails in the sky, all of the environmental pollution has really changed our society and our way of health.
It's scary when you think about all that and so many things that we're not even aware of or conscious of. I know you have a retreat center where it's a place where you can just get away, dive into yourself. How I wish everyone has that opportunity to just go on a retreat. Dr. Peter, for those who are not in Pennsylvania, people like me, how do I get myself tested by your team?
That's a fascinating question. We have clients worldwide that we're able to test these days using the most sophisticated advanced technology. For example, we use quantum physics. Dr. Albert Einstein invented quantum physics. So we're able to hone in and test a person just by sending a headshot to us on a cell phone.
No way. Seriously.
Absolutely. That's one of our ways. And we've done many, many back to back testings where we've tested them remotely and also tested the same person in the office, and we get the same results 10 out of 10 times.
Wow. I'd love to just understand more of that. So a lot of people do this?
Yes, they do. Furthermore, we also have a sophisticated high technology neurofeedback and biofeedback machine that we can test people remotely just by typing in their location, their birth date, all of the things that makes that person be unique. So the machine recognizes it's only one of that person,
Hmm.
and then it's able to connect with that person virtually and bring up their health history without asking any questions. The diagnostics of the machine has 15,000 different signatures or amplitudes built into the software of the machine that runs through the airwaves and asks that person without asking them consciously and brings forward their health history where we tell the person what's wrong with them without asking any questions. And then they say to us, how do you know all this? It's very sophisticated, trust me, but it's also a challenge for people to trust and believe in, honestly. I
Yeah.
was at a conference 25 or 30 years ago, and there was a long line of people to get a free test on this machine. So I said, I have to get in the line. I got in the
Mhm.
line and I sat down. They put a head harness around my head, connected to a laptop filled with software. And they asked me my birth date, my name, my town, my age, what time of day I was born. And they started telling me all of the things that were about my health. And I said, I can't believe you can know all this. They said, well, the machine just asked you 15,000 questions and we got the answers. Now that's
What?
sophistication and that's technology. It's almost like AI today.
Yeah.
It's quantum physics of many, many years ago. So I bought the machine and they said to me, even people who real estate agents buy this machine, let's say they have in their inventory a home or a business that dead inventory, it won't sell. They kept reducing the price, reducing the price. If they plug that address into the machine and send energy to the machine for the sale, it can sell. That's how far out this is.
I've read about quantum physics. I guess what I've never really heard about are the practical applications of it, the way you've described. So this is utterly fascinating.
Right. So let me tell you a story. So I was a skeptic. I bought the machine. I was just going to see people in person with the head harness. I had a clinic in the Caribbean on the island of St. Martin. So I would winter there and I had a waiting list of practice there for quite a few years. But I had people back in the States saying, I wish you were here. I need some help. I'm hurting. And I would say, well, what's wrong? They'd say, well, I'm having back pain. So I said, let me try this machine remotely. So I would type in all of their information in the machine, and the machine would start bringing up pages of information. And I would say to the person, is your pain in C5 or L3? These are spinal cervical points.
Yeah.
And they would say, yes. How do you know that? And then the machine actually runs a spinal program that runs frequencies into that person from afar, and people were getting better. Now,
No
I wouldn't
way.
charge anybody because it would usually be family or friends, but it got to the point where none of us could believe it. So then I started to say to clients, look, I'll do this long distance work. If you get better, pay. If you don't pay. So I still wasn't, you know, if people
Ah,
were getting better, they started paying me. So I started saying, well, this must work. And I've been
wow.
doing it for over 20 years, and it validates the same success as the cell phone picture itself, verbatim.
Wow.
Now, I would never believe this as a skeptic. If people don't believe it, I fully understand that, but it works and people get better.
Again, this is the first time I've heard about such a thing. I would love to have a follow-up session with you just to see this in practice so that people are made more aware of the power of quantum physics and how this could be an option for someone who's far away.
Absolutely. And I'm
Yeah.
not the only one. I have doctor friends in Germany, for example, that they do something similar by using someone's voice. They're able to test the frequency of their voice by leaving a phone message and test the voice.
Oh,
The
wait.
world is really changing.
I mean, hey, if it helps someone, I'm totally for it and support it. I appreciate you sharing this. It's mind-boggling and I have to suspend my disbelief and try this out sometime.
Try it out. I'm happy to test you as a new friend. And if you get, if it makes sense to you, great. We'll just do it just to test and see what you think.
Oh, amazing. I think it merits a different segment. We will record just that piece because I think people are curious and people need to know as well. My family is thousands of miles away, and sometimes I feel helpless on how to help them. So, is this something that they should be doing to have better access to opportunities to get better? So, thank you
Absolutely.
for sharing that.
Sure. Happy to work with you.
Where can people learn more about what you do?
We have a few websites. The Wellness Center and Doctor's Office is innerharmonywellness.com. The Retreat Center is harmonymountaininstitute.com. And I'm a Los Angeles Times and Amazon bestselling author. You can go to peteramato.com.
And what are the titles of your books?
So I have a book called Soul Silence, The Path of Awakening, which is really about that side of my brain that teaches self-inquiry, meditation, and stress reduction, which we teach in schools to children's, in prisons, in drug and alcohol rehab centers. And then another book, which is coming out real soon, called The New Medicine, Moving Beyond Our Crisis of Perception.
Mm, that sounds very interesting. And when is that coming out, Dr. Peter?
Hopefully within the next few months. We're working on the cover.
I think more people should have a better understanding of their health and well being. And I thank you for doing all the work that you do in bringing that awareness and the opportunity for people to take care of themselves. Any last words to our audience?
Well, you're quite welcome, and I'm grateful to have been on your show. We do offer a free phone consult. People can call and inquire about their health on a 30-minute phone consult with one of our lead practitioners. And that's also available on our website, innerharmonywellness.com. And I just hope everybody tries to pay more attention and become more awake and aware of what they're ingesting and how their mind affects their body. And of course, work on their spirituality and become more happy and healthy.
I echo that. Thank you, Dr. Amato, for your wise words on the show.
My pleasure. Grateful to be on your show, and thank you so much.